Robbie, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, fantastic. This has been so much fun. It was so great last year. I was so looking forward to this. So thank you again. I believe you are a repeat visitor, are you not, from last year?
I am. Thank you for having me again.
Let me just quickly ask.
And I was glad that Laura did pump that in there, though, because I'm part of the group. Laura's our illustrious leader on putting together JDay USA, but I'm part of the group. And I tell you, we worked for a few months getting this all together. And so please, everybody come and join us tonight. That would be fantastic.
You guys have done a great job. Let me just ask you if you have any slides. I'll make you a co-host if you do.
I do not have any slides.
That is
you told me not to do slides.
Exactly. I'm going to call out Owen, who said, I need to do slides. So yeah, I've been asking everyone just to make sure. Welcome, Robbie. For those who don't know, Robbie's a longtime contributor, not a first-time caller, that's for sure. She owns OS Training, and she owns Fabric, and she does all kinds of stuff. She's bouncing over lots of different open source projects. And today, I've known Robbie for a number of years. We had a great conference, I remember, a few years back, pre-COVID. And she's going to talk today about migrating from Joomla 3 to Joomla 4. Robbie, we're cutting your time a little, so don't feel any stress. You have about 15 or 16 minutes. Tell us your top tips for migrating.
I was going to say, okay. Well, I'm gonna quickly though throw in because I'm gonna add on top of Steve's, by the way, because if you guys aren't in his Facebook group, you should join his Facebook group. It is great, and we will continue to put out OS tips and things like that he can share in there, as well as we just launched our new OS training website, and we also have now a community area and a dedicated Joomla group in there. It's brand new, so there's not many people in it yet. We're starting to post in there, just like this. We posted about this in there. So we do encourage you, though, because you don't have to become a paying member. You can just become what we call an OS Tribe member, and you can join that group as well. And we will also, I just saw Steve 2 days ago. We had lunch together in Tampa. It was beautiful.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
And and I want to have, some good collaboration. Just like you said, Victor, we have to share the information among many channels. You can't just concentrate in one little bubble. We need to take that information and push it out everywhere. Steve can work that one, somebody else can work this one. And as long as we're all looking between these and pushing the information, it helps get the information out there. And I know things like Discord are kind of like, but for the younger crowd, Discord is like the bomb diggity.
I know.
I probably just really aged myself with that term. But it's essential. And by the way, this is across all open source products I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
Is we need to start focusing on those 20-something-year-olds and getting them involved in here, and even younger if you can. But I mean, we need to do that. And so I do think that's a kind of an essential thing that we need to think about. And maybe we need like a little advocate that can run that. So
I'm going to give a throwback. I'll give a quick throwback to this morning. If you weren't here, we were talking about editors, and Ryan was talking about JCE. We're just saying that young people like a really easy editing experience, right? TikTok or Snapchat.
Yep.
Having something really easy for people to make content would be a really cool. We're trying to convince Ryan to do that for Joomla. So, all right, I won't take any more of your time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. We find, when we do our social media too, it took a while for like Instagram to catch up. But once it did, it was great. And it's a totally different audience that we have on our Instagram than we have from our Twitter and I have from our Facebook.
100%.
So, it's worth trying different platforms, but you do have to, like Steve said, you put your main content in one and then I feel feed it out to the others. So anyway, now, this is going to sound really weird, and I'm going to preface this with saying I did not pick my topic. Victor picked my topic.
I did?
You did. I guess you did. Somebody did. I saw it. I was like, oh, okay, I'll talk about that. That's great, but I did not pick this topic.
I'm so sorry.
No. But the reason I'm saying that it's going to sound like I picked it so that I could market our new class. It's really weird because guess what? Class comes out today.
Wow.
It kind of coincided with JDay USA. But later on today, we're releasing our Joomla 3 to Joomla 4 class. And so I was just like, did he know this? I don't think he knew this. Did you?
I'm going to back review the emails. I'm wondering how it worked out. They're over here. I'll figure it out in a minute.
You sent me a list and you said, can you talk about this? I was like, sure.
Oh, that is so
anyway,
funny.
So it did coordinate very nicely. Thank you, Victor. But it was not intentional. And we will have that class up later on today. It's just in its final proofing process right now. And it's just a kind of a high level. Our great trainer, Rod Martin, is going to take us through the Joomla 3 to Joomla 4. It's not, he is going to actually show an upgrade, but it's more about what are the differences, looking at Joomla 3 to Joomla 4. What are the differences? What are the similarities? And where, even when there's similarities, where are the similarities, right? It's kind of like I can drive my little Hyundai and I could probably get in a Porsche and drive that too, but things are in a different place, right? I mean, the blinkers may be a little different, things may be there. And then there's also going to be some new things that work in this one that didn't work in my old one. And so it's like, where are those things? And so that's kind of what the Joomla 3 to Joomla 4 course does, because there are things to consider. There were some things that moved around, obviously. But first of all, the admin system looks totally different, right?
Right.
So that looks different. And then, of course, you've got some new features. We've got, workflow. There's some other some SEO, new little things in there for SEO. And so you've got some new features in there that you just need to know where they are and what they do. Because otherwise, you're going to look at that and go like, I don't know what that switch does, so I'm not going to touch it. Right?
Always better to not touch it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I just won't touch that. I don't know what that is. So I'll set that over there. And later on, I'll read about that, which is also fine. But this course is designed to kind of just take you through that. So, and one of the other things so if we just talk about going from Joomla 3 to Joomla 4, we all know the biggest hurdle. I mean, we could go and upgrade our site, right? We could go and upgrade our site right now. But we better first go and look at our extensions, because not all extensions are ready for Joomla 4. Even now, and even probably in 6 months from now, not all extensions are going to be moved over. I talk with a lot of other extension developers out there, and it's a job. It is a job. If you've already done yours and you're done with it, kudos to you. I mean, because this is not a job for the meek at heart. It's a big process to move. Smaller extensions move rather quickly, I would say. With some of the smaller extensions, I think some people were saying they could even do it in a month. They could turn it around, get it ready for Joomla 4, test it out, make sure it's good, and put it out. But anything that past a small extension or plugin, anything past that, it just takes a long time to get it ready for Joomla 4, as well as testing, right? We need testing. And then also for the extension developers, they have to look at the popularity of their extensions and say, is it worth it to do that? And so that's where you're seeing some extensions are not moving forward. They will stay with the Joomla 3. And, we don't know how long. We know officially Joomla 3 is supposed to be end of life in August 2023.
Right.
So, which is nice. That gives us all time, right? I mean, gives extension developers more time. It gives users more time, because users need time. Because even when I'm saying you need to make sure your extensions are all ready, even if all your extensions are ready. So let's just say I look at my Joomla 3, all extensions are already upgraded to 4. It's still something that you need to take your time doing. And I always suggest set up a staging site for this. So leave your live site running and chucking along as it is. It's good. Leave it there. Make a staging site. And that's where you're going to go through upgrading your extensions. You're going to upgrade Joomla. And then you need to test the heck out of it. I mean, really, you need to test your site. And when I say test it, you need to test everything about your site. I'm not saying that they won't work, but things may be different than what it is in your current site. Or some things you might could enhance and make better. And so I always look at this as anytime you're going from one version to the next, like this, where it also requires a template change. Okay, so this is a template upgrade rather. I would definitely say take this opportunity to make this a true refresh on your website. Right. So not only call it an upgrade to my website, but call it a refresh. And if you're an agency and you're doing this for clients, that's the way I would spin it with the clients as well, is, hey, Joomla 4 is out. It has new bells and whistles. And you may have to go through the conversation with them about certain extensions, may or may not move forward. And so if so, how are we going to replace those? And so it gives you that opportunity to give them other options there And then again, build that, whether it's your site, the client site, build it in a staging environment. Make your client test it out as well if it's a client site. Don't you just test it and say, oh yeah, it looks great, we're good to go. I would also make my client go through and walk through particularly the most important things. With e-commerce, they obviously need to do e-commerce testing. If it's just a publishing and networking community site, they need to test all the ways that it's used for that. And so definitely, to me, testing is going to be key as you're doing this. But you also then can say, hey, we're going to have to do, we're going to have to upgrade your template anyway. How about a refresh on your look and feel? The reason I say that is because on your template, even if you just upgrade your template, there could be some changes, right? There, even if you could probably match it pretty dadgum close, is what I'll say. But there's always going to be some spacing issues, a little bit of differences here and there. We're moving Bootstrap 5 with your themes, depending on which theme you're using, but or template which you're using. So you're upgrading to Bootstrap 5. So there's just going to be some little bits of differences in look and feel. So as opposed to trying to match exactly, depends on what your client wants, you may say, hey, let's do a fresh look. And quite honestly, probably it's time. Almost every time I look at a client site, I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. I have the same experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been like 4 years since we did that, or it's been 6 years since we did that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it kind of looks like it was built 6 years ago. I mean, there are subtle differences in design that happen every year. And that's why we can, even if you're not a designer, you can look at a website sometimes and go like, wow, that site's old.
Sliders, parallax. I mean, there are those trends that, were popular.
Right. You may not be a designer. And I think probably like Robin in here is going like, yo, girl, I know. I look at these sites and I'm like, that is old. And because she is a designer, and with a designer's eye, you definitely see these. But even people who are not designers, even people who aren't designers look at it and they just know. They may not know why. They may not know because, like you said, it doesn't have parallax. It doesn't have, material design, or maybe it has material design in there, and so it's like they know. They can see it even if they don't know what it is about it that looks old. So a lot of times your clients will be ready. So I say using the Joomla 3 to Joomla 4 move, the migration, and I hate to use that word migration because for a lot of us, we get a little PTSD when we say migration. When we think about Joomla 1.5. So we get some little PTSD. So I hate to call it a migration. I like to call it an upgrade from Joomla 3 to Joomla 4. So when you upgrade, that's a perfect time to reassess the entire website from look and feel to functionality. And then also telling them about the new features in Joomla 4, such as workflow. Maybe they had used something else that created a workflow for them before that was not core. And so maybe they want to either move their workflow over into core to get rid of an extension, or maybe they never used it. Maybe they didn't even know it existed. They don't even know what workflow is. And so introducing them to that and then helping them, get started with workflow would also be another thing. So I see this as a good thing for agencies because it gives them something to go back and say to their clients, now's the time, or let's plot it out. That's the other thing. We have time. Like I have some clients that they have, sites that they're used to run their businesses. And so it's like, okay, well, this time of year is not good. We can't do this during this time of year to make the switch. And so we plot and we say, this is the time of year it fits best for us to launch a new website. Now, whatever that date is, you need to back that up, right? And that's where you start your staging site with your client and start going through things, getting the new look and feel or whatever it is they're going to have, new functionality, going through the testing phases, and then getting it ready so it's rock solid for when they say, okay, this is the switch over date and we're going to switch over. And so I suggest doing it that way. Yes, sorry.
I was going to say, and so workflow for larger sites that probably work, with multiple contributors, the workflows feature, folks aren't familiar with that. It's, a way for you to set up contributors to start with drafts and have them approved and, reviewed. Many small businesses wouldn't have a need for that. They have a brochure site, they have a landing page site, it's probably too much for them. But Joomla 4 has been advertising, Joomla's been advertising Joomla 4 features such as SEO, speed improvements. Are you using those maybe to pitch? Because those seem more universal, I would say.
Yes, sorry. And I just picked workflow as one of the new items to point out there. But yeah, you're right. Most people, I would say, thinking about our clients, a lot of our clients are probably not going to use the built-in workflow, but they will benefit from the enhanced security that Joomla 4 has, the SEO features that have been now baked into the core. So they're going those two things alone, and then of course the speed. That all comes into play. I feel like to create the better speed, right? And so yes, faster. The faster site is definitely something we bring up the SEO and the security. To me, security is one of the top things. I don't care what type of site you are selling right now, whether it's Joomla, whether it's WordPress, whether you're building a Laravel app. I don't care what it is. Security is at the top of the discussions these days, because since pandemic, if you look at the rate of increase in hacking, just DDoS attacks alone, but other types of hacking, it has escalated. I think it was like 4 to 5 times is what they're saying now.
Wow.
And so security is essential. Speed also is essential. Why is speed essential? Because we have all these lovely little devices out there, right? And so many people, I know some people who do not own computers anymore. They have either an iPhone and an iPad, or some sort of tablet or whatever. So speed is essential when you're talking about going to mobile. And that is, by the way, also one of the things. I mean, this is kind of not necessarily a Joomla 3 to Joomla 4 discussion with your client, but when you're talking about that upgrade, definitely look at the analytics, because I guarantee you most of your clients are probably at a 70+% mobile traffic.
Right.
And so that is something to bring up with a client. And that's when you start talking about mobile up design, things like that. Speed becomes essential for that.
And of course, it's a ranking factor for SEO, so it's related to that.
Yes.
Also.
Yes. I will say, though, sometimes you may be surprised. That's why I say look at your stats before you go telling your client, mobile is much more popular, because like we have 2 sites in particular, and they deal with one is for people with Parkinson's. Well, it has a 75% desktop rate, okay, because it's just easier for people with Parkinson's to use a mouse and keyboard than to use a mobile device. So what I said was a general statement, as most people has moved to mobile, is a higher traffic level for them, but not everybody across the board. So always look at your stats, get your stuff together before you go and present in front of the client, so you can make the best. That's why they've hired you, because you're the expert and they want you to make the best recommendations. But you can only make those recommendations if you do the footwork first. Look at everything. So look at their analytics to see what kind of traffic they have. Look at the template to see how old is this design that we did for them. Then look at the extensions they have, or has everything moved? If not, what is my alternative here? And then get all of that together before you go and approach the client to talk to them about it. Or if it's for your own site, do that legwork for yourself before you make decisions.
I just thought of a great little catchphrase for these people selling these sites to the agencies, to their clients: speed, SEO, security, the 3 S's. Good sales pitch right there.
There you go.
We're at time, Robbie. I would love to chat with you all day about this. I was going to ask you about Joomla 5. What do we have to think about that for an upgrade? How do we prepare for that? But we don't have time. And I did find out the answer to your question, by the way. I was wondering if you might want to talk about, for this topic, migrating an extension specifically from Joomla 3 to Joomla 4. But maybe we'll deal with that another day.
We will deal with that.
I know you've got a lot of comments on that recently.
I was just surprised I didn't have one in here, by the way. So yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And good luck to everyone on their upgrades.
Right. And if you want to stick around, we've got, after Owen's talk, we don't have no more things on the schedule, so we can have a free discussion. We're just here in the booth enjoying ourselves. So if you're still around, Robbie, please jump back in. And thank you again so much. Love having you on the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.